Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome. So in this video, we are going to look at the concept of regulation of glycolysis. So generally, ladies and gentlemen, in this video, we are going to look at the metabolic regulation, specifically glycolysis. So ladies and gentlemen, when we said glycolysis is a crucial metabolic pathways for energy production in cells. So I want to say something here very important, ladies and gentlemen. When we are talking about glycolysis takes place in the cytosol of a cell, and each and every cells in the body undergo glycolysis. And the major aim of glycolysis, of course, is to generate the major role of glycolysis, ladies and gentlemen, is to generate ATP, that is ATP production, and some other important biomolecules that can be used in the synthesis of other important biomolecules in the body. And it is regulation, it ensures energy efficiency and metabolic balance. So that is why this regulation of glycolysis is very important in order to ensure that there is energy efficiency and metabolic balance within the cell. So these are the two importance of metabolic regulation, especially here, specifically, we are talking about glycolysis. So why do we regulate glycolysis? Is number one for energy efficiency, and then number two, metabolic balance within the cell. So this is the importance of regulation of glycolysis to maintain energy efficiency and metabolic balance. And then, very importantly, ladies and gentlemen, we have multiple control points which allow the pathway to respond dynamically to cellular needs. So we have different points of regulation in glycolysis. Truly speaking, ladies and gentlemen, we have 3 points of regulation in glycolysis. And now we are going to look at this from the figure here, figure 1. So you see the first point of regulation of glycolysis, we have hexokinase. Hexokinase is the first point of regulation in glycolysis. And then number 2, we have phosphofructokinase. It is also another important point of regulation. And then the last point of this metabolic regulation is pyruvate kinase. So that is why we have 3 points of regulation in glycolysis. We have hexokinase, phosphofructokinase 1, and then the last point of regulation is hexokinase, where phosphoenol pyruvate is converted into pyruvates. And we have some important biomolecules that can serve as inhibitors or activators. And some of the inhibitors of glycolysis, we have ATP and ADP cycle. High ATP content is associated with inhibition of glycolysis. High AMP is associated with increase, that is activation of glycolysis. And then citrate also is associated with the inhibition of glycolysis. Fructose 1,6-bisphosphate is also an activator of, it means it enhances, it activates glycolysis. So now, let's look at these 3 different points of regulation, and then we are going to look at the different activators that increases the glycolytic pathway. So the 3 major enzymes that are actually considered as a point of regulation in glycolysis, we have number 1, we have hexokinase, we have PFK1, which is called phosphofructokinase 1, and then we have pyruvate kinase. So these are the 2 points of regulation in glycolysis. And the activators, that is the biomolecules that activate each of these enzymes, are also here. Activators, it means that there are molecules that increases, as you can see, there are molecules that increases glycolysis. So the biomolecules that increases or that activate hexokinase is glucose. So glucose is an activator. It activates hexokinase, initiates glycolysis. And then the biomolecules that activate phosphofructokinase, we have AMP and fructose 2,6-bisphosphate. So I think at this point, ladies and gentlemen, I need to discuss on allosteric regulation. So ladies and gentlemen, generally enzymes have multiple binding sites. They have multiple binding sites. Enzymes, they have a multiple binding site. Let's say this is our enzymes E. This site, it can be an active site of the enzymes. It can be an active site of the enzymes. And this one, we can call it allosteric site. Allosteric site. So ladies and gentlemen, what is allosteric site? Allosteric sites or allosteric regulation is a process in which generally an enzymes have other side apart from the active side where the molecules bind, change the conformation of the enzymes, which can lead to either increase in the activation, increases in a particular pathway or decrease in a particular pathway. So activators, there are molecules that when bind to the allosteric side of the enzymes, they enhances a particular pathway. While inhibitors, there are molecules that when bind to the allosteric side, they decreases a particular pathway. So like as you can see from here, AMP, adenosine monophosphate, fructose 2,6-bisphosphate, they are activators that bind to the allosteric side of the enzymes and enhances or increase glycolysis. And also we have phosphofructose or fructose 1,6-bisphosphate is also an activator of pyruvate kinase. So it is a molecule that binds to the allosteric side of phosphofructokinase and increases glycolysis. But when we said inhibitors, as explained earlier, there are biomolecules that bind to the allosteric side of the enzymes and decreases glycolysis. So that is what we mean by allosteric regulation. It's a types of regulatory, it is a types of regulation in which a modulators bind to the allosteric sites to enhances or decreases a particular pathway. So these activators, you can call them modulators. Both the inhibitors and the activators, they are served as modulators. So there are molecules that bind to the allosteric sites that lead to increase in glycolysis or decrease in glycolysis. So that is allosteric regulation. While in the case of covalent modification, the covalent modification is a type of regulatory process in which a group is attached or is added to a particular enzyme, either enhances or decreases a particular pathway. So specifically here, we are going to look at the covalent modification in terms of phosphorylation and dephosphorylation of pyruvate kinase. So ladies and gentlemen, in this slide, the most important thing that you need to understand is the regulation of glycolysis. We have 3 key points of regulation in glycolysis, and each of these points, they have their specific activators and inhibitors. Like in the case of the inhibitors of hexokinase, we have glucose 6-phosphates. And then in the case of phosphofructokinase 1, we have inhibitors ATP and citrate, and the inhibitors for pyruvate kinase, we have ATP and alanine. So now, as I explained earlier, allosteric regulation. So allosteric effectors such as ATP, ADP, AMP, and citrate modulate enzymes activity. So these are allosteric effectors. We have ATP, ADP, AMP and citrate, they are modulators, or they are effectors molecules that modulate enzymes activity, and the modulation can be activation or inhibition. Like as you can see from here, the ATP here, it acts as an inhibitor of phosphofructokinase, which signals sufficient energy supply. So it means that when you have enough ATP in the body, it signals the body that there is enough or there is sufficient ATP, and there is no need for increase or activation of glycolysis. So that is why, as you can see from here, ATP decreases, as you can see from here, it decreases phosphofructokinase activity. And then in the case of AMP, as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, AMP here and ADP, they indicate high energy demand. It means that there is a high energy demand in a cell. So therefore, these biomolecules, they activate AMP and ADP, they activate phosphofructokinase 1, indicating that there is a high energy demand, and that will lead to an increase in phosphofructokinase activity. So these are the allosteric molecules as you can see them from here: ATP, ADP, AMP, and citrate. ADP and AMP activate PFK1. ATP and citrate inhibits PFK1. So now let's look at the covalent modification. So the phosphorylation of key enzymes can either activate or inhibit their activity. So here we are talking about phosphofructokinase. So ladies and gentlemen, generally, when there is a low blood glucose level, usually there are high or decrease in blood sugar lead to increase in secretion of a particular hormones. So at this point, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to understand that glucagon, generally, it promotes phosphorylation. And the phosphorylation of the phosphorylation of pyruvate kinase increases its activity. So increase in glucagon secretion in the blood promotes the phosphorylation of pyruvate kinase. And the phosphorylation of pyruvate kinase inactivates them. And that will definitely lead to decrease in glycolytic flux. So that is the most important thing that we need to understand. And then for the insulin, it facilitates phosphorylation, which enhances glycolytic flux. So insulin secretion leads to the phosphorylation of pyruvate kinase, which lead to the activation of the enzymes. And active pyruvate kinase increases, as you can see from here, it increases glycolytic flux. And then the next one is covalent modification. So in the case of covalent modification, this is all what we discussed. So phosphorylation inactivates the enzymes, while dephosphorylation activates the enzymes, which lead to an increase in the glycolytic flux. So now, what are the role of energy status and metabolite levels? So most important things, ladies and gentlemen, there are some metabolites when their levels is high, it means there is a high energy demand. And if those metabolites, their concentration is low or it's high, it means that there is a low energy. So generally, ladies and gentlemen, when you have an increase in concentration of citrates and ATP, it means that there is a high energy in the cell. So these biomolecules, citrate and ATP, lead to an inhibition of glycolysis, which subsequently stopped the glycolysis completely or reduced the glycolytic pathway. So high energy is an indication that there is going to be a high concentration of citrate and ATP in a cell, which lead to an inhibition of glycolysis. And then high concentration of AMP and ADP, it means that there is a low energy in the body, which lead to activation of glycolysis, and that will lead to an increase in glycolytic flux. So then, now, what about the regulation by hormonal signals? So ladies and gentlemen, very importantly, when the blood glucose level is high, it leads to an increase in secretion of insulin. And insulin leads to activation of phosphatase enzymes, which lead to the phosphorylation of pyruvate kinase, which make the pyruvate kinase active and lead to an increase in glycolysis. So the phosphorylation of pyruvate kinase through hormonal signals like insulin lead to an increase in glycolysis. While a low blood glucose level, when there is a low blood glucose level, glucagon usually increases. Glucagon and adrenaline, and this will lead to phosphorylation cascades. So the phosphorylation of pyruvate kinase will lead to, or will make the enzymes inactive, and that will lead to decrease in glycolysis. So insulin leads to enzymes activation, specifically pyruvate kinase will lead to, which leads to an increase in glycolysis, while increase in glucagon and epinephrine lead to the phosphorylation of pyruvate kinase, which lead to enzymes inhibition and then reduced activity of glycolysis. So in summary, ladies and gentlemen, glycolysis regulation is vital for maintaining energy homeostasis and metabolic flexibility. And it involves multiple mechanisms, including allosteric control, covalent modifications, as we discussed in the video, and hormonal signaling. So proper regulation, it ensures efficient energy production and prevent metabolic imbalance. So ladies and gentlemen, this is where we are going to stop. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, and join my YouTube community for more videos. See you next.